How's it going, everybody? I'm Lewis and we've got a new update from the Old School RuneScape team. This is Monster Examine and Deadman. So, this week, the Monster Examine spell is being beefed up to give us a lot more information about monsters that you're interested in. They've also got some updates from the most recent poll, which includes things like allowing you to change your attack priority options for NPCs and players, as well as a bunch of other changes for Deadman mode. So let's start off with Monster Examine. Have you ever wondered what the defense level of Toasted Choc Jad is, or perhaps the attack level of an imp? With the new Monster Examine spell, you can see all of that, plus a whole host of other things. So they've effectively improved the Monster Examine spell, and it provides you with a lot more information about the monsters you choose to examine. The Monster Examine spell will now provide information on the following stats. Stats, offensive stats, defensive stats, and other attributes. For example, if it is or isn't a Slayer monster, if it can be poisoned, if it can't, and if it can be cannoned. So this allows you to find out a lot more information about these monsters. However, it's got a bit of a downside. It can't really provide you with any specialty things, such as special attacks the monster will do, and it won't take things like changing form into account. For example, the Cowfight Queen has 2 stages, so if you examine it, it'll only show you the first stage. Moving on to the separate attack priority options. Attack priority options allow you to choose when and where you'd like attack options to appear. They've updated this, so you can now choose this for players and NPCs. This means that in your settings tab, it's now got 2 drop-down menus where you can choose which attack options you want. They've also added an additional option for hiding the attack option for both players and NPCs. Moving on to some specific Deadman mode changes. Starting off with the skull timer. When you're skulled in Deadman mode, you'll see a timer appear on your screen, letting you roughly know how long you have to go until your skull expires. This timer will update every 30 seconds, so you'll see it go from 20 minutes to 19.5 minutes to 19 minutes, etc., all the way down to 0. If you attack someone again, it will bump up to 20. They've also got some changes to bank keys. They made a number of changes to how the bank keys work in Deadman mode. When you're killing a player who's in possession of bank keys, you will now receive the most valuable keys from that player rather than the oldest. The key that is created from their bank is also included when deciding which keys are the most valuable. If you don't have inventory space to receive a key, it will be dropped to the floor. This will only happen until you hit the limit of 5 keys. Both keys in your inventory and on the floor count towards this limit. So if you've got 4 keys and you've got 1 on the floor, you can't receive any more keys. Also, if you're in a safe zone, all keys are going to be dropped to the floor. Keys on the floor which belong to a player who dies are destroyed. And a player frozen by guards cannot pick up or telegrab any item. And finally, the last Deadman mode change is changes to boxing. Apparently, there's been a number of players staying in combat with friends or low-level monsters, dealing very little damage and receiving very little damage. This is an attempt to avoid dying to PKers, something similar to the way that splashing worked, especially in PvP worlds. It's now possible to attack players in this sort of combat. If you're looking for a quick kill and you see someone doing this sort of combat, then you can just hop in and maybe even grab yourself some nice loot when you do it. And finally, in other news, we've got some quality of life updates and bug fixes. The special attack cost of the Zamorak Godsword has been reduced to 50%. Serenity will now allow you to change your family crest to the skull emblem on Deadman worlds without requiring you to have a PK skull, because obviously that's a safe zone and gods will attack you. Deadman worlds are now easier to distinguish from standard old school worlds in the World Switcher. The yew tree in Lumbridge Graveyard has been disabled on Deadman worlds since it's in a safe zone, because we wouldn't want people being able to get such a high level log in a safe area. The statuette in Nardar and the monastery monks no longer offer healing services on Deadman worlds. They've improved the route finding in the southern part of the Varrock West Bank. You can no longer enter the Goblin Village kitchen when skulled on a Deadman world. Bringing up the send a message box will no longer stall logging out or teleporting in Deadman mode. Getting inside the penguin suit is no longer possible when skulled on a Deadman world. They've stopped a goblin in Lumbridge spawning in a tree yet again. Parts of a palm tree near Alcarid Palace are no longer invisible with roofs selectively hidden. Player-owned houses should now render more reliably for players who've lost construction experience. And the easy Desert Achievement Diary task to mine 5 clay in the northern eastern desert now includes all of the clay rocks in the vicinity. So a nice couple of quality of life updates this week. For Old School RuneScape had a couple of quality of life updates, and Deadman mode has received quite a lot. I find it interesting that they've expanded the Monster Examine spell, however unfortunately I see it as a bit of a dead spell that no one wants to use. What do you think of this update? Let me know in the comments below. If you want to watch the latest Old School RuneScape developer blog, please click here for the Soul and Blood altars. And if you want to watch the last Old School RuneScape update, please click here for Skilling Pets and Deadman tweaks. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and share, and if you want to keep up to date with the Old School RuneScape updates, deathblocks and polls, please subscribe. I've been Lewis, thanks for watching.